Hey babies, it's your favorite host, Mr. BMG, back at it again with another episode. Let's get into it. Anyway, babies, I hope you have had a great week and have been doing what makes your heart full. I came across this very topical post by the Neighborhood Talk and the Shade Room. They tend to post similar content, but basically it was Lizzo who was speaking on her weight loss journey and essentially how thin presenting people can't necessarily speak on, bigger people. Like, the commentary is not necessarily invited, even though I think essentially sometimes thin presenting people think that it is their place to be the judge of this bigger person. So she essentially was going through all of that because she's obviously had this beautiful transformation with losing weight, and you can obviously see that there's a lot more confidence that she's feeling about herself, about her body, about her health. And in the same regard, I think there's still that big girl inside of her who is very sensitive and triggered by the experiences that she's faced with. People do treat you differently because we live in a weight conscious society, in a weight conscious world. So I think her speaking through that was really important. The activism of protecting those who do struggle with their weight, I think is still important, as opposed to be the chief advocate of hating on them, because a lot of people who have lost weight tend to become very against people who are bigger and almost lose the sense of grounding of the fact that they were actually in those people's positions once upon a time. So I think it was a really beautiful experience. And, being a big person myself, I love to work out. I love to go on jogs. And interestingly, you do find a lot of people who, even when I'm on my jog, they're like, well, great job. And I'm just like, bitch, I did not ask for your commentary or your ad lib. Like, great job for who, sweetheart? Or you're doing great, or oh my gosh, keep it up. Like, as if I'm doing it to impress them, as if I'm doing it to get some type of approval from them. Literally, I work out for my mental health, to get those endorphins going and to feel good, essentially, because that working up that sweat, there's something that it does to your brain, there's something that it does to your chemical balance that is so positive for you. So over and above anything that other people may think I'm doing it for, purely for me, it's because I want to feel good mentally, and I want to feel that sweat. I want to feel that, that burn, because at the other side of that burn is a sense of, just imagine after you've gone for a run and you feel that coldness of that sweat drying up. There's a weird level of calm and clarity that you have beyond that. And that's really always the thing that I'm chasing. So I'm not asking for your ad lib. Good job, great job. Like, bitch, don't you dare, don't you ever. So the next time you see me running, and after you see this video, and dare you say good job, as if I'm doing this for you, you will get the biggest side eye you've ever seen in your life, to the point where you'll never speak of those words ever again. Yeah, case closed. Lizzo, you won, and you're still winning, and I'm very proud of you for the journey that you're on. So Nelly and Ashanti have a reality show together, and this reality show is essentially focusing on them being back together, one, being married, being new parents, and also just the notion of them belonging together. So it's called Nelly and Ashanti, We Belong Together. I watched it and I didn't know how to feel about it, because I wanted to be positive, because I feel like these are people who have been together on and off since 2003. So I guess it's been maybe 22 years that they've sort of been on again, off again, on again, off again. And finally they found each other. Finally they're married. Finally they have a kid, and they're in this beautiful relationship. I felt awkward watching the show because I felt uncomfortable with them being together, even though I wanted them to be together. And the reason why I felt uncomfortable was because there was something off that I felt about the connection that they had. And in my mind, I thought maybe it's because they're not a new couple, they're not new lovers, they're not all over each other as if they just met 2 days ago. These are people who've been on and off for many, many years. They've had breakups and makeups and a lot of, I guess, heated exchanges. From what Ashanti was saying, she's like, she used to have a very slick mouth. She's from New York, honey. She will give you the tea and she will put you in your place, type of thing. And maybe it looks like they used to have a lot of like very interesting, I guess, arguments, debates, and things that maybe took their relationship off course that is maybe different now in in their union now. I still felt very uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, well, so even though it's because they're not new lovers, there's just something that's not right about their relationship, And I started sort of maybe looking at the characters of the people within the relationship. Ashanti, she has the background of the fact that her parents have been married forever, and her parents had her when they were married. And in some ways, if you've grown up seeing your parents always being together, there is a pressure of wanting to settle down, wanting to start a family within wedlock, in a very traditional sense. And in my mind, I thought, well, maybe she wanted to be with Nelly because she's the guy who she's probably been on again, off with for the longest time. So she knows him. She knows what it is. So if they were to get married and have a kid, there wouldn't necessarily be surprises of who he is, because she's had a long time to know who he is. So it almost feels like she wanted to have a kid. She settled to have a kid with Nelly because who doesn't want a famous baby daddy, you know? It makes business sense because remember, marriage, partnership, having children, all of these are business decisions as much as they're all personal, emotional, you know, decisions, family decisions. They're all business decisions if you think about it, because if you have a kid with the wrong person, if you're married to the wrong person, it could really affect you. So maybe it made business sense for her to be married to Nelly, and they just decided to make it work in the most unconventional way, because they're also not conventionally married. I think they don't see each other every day, and it kind of looks like they still live very independent lives, but meet when they want to. And for some reason, I found that also interesting if it's done for the right reasons, because I've always said that when you're in a relationship with somebody, like if I'm with my man, I want to still feel like we're together because we want to be together, not because we're forced to be together. And the only way we can be together because we want to be together is we still have our lives outside of each other and still choose to be with each other each and every time, you know, because I think the way people do relationships traditionally is kind of what's making them not feasible, sustainable for this day and age, is because we're forcing things. If we are more organically curating relationships to work for us, then I think it could actually work better. So in that regard, I supported them because I feel like this is a very different way of having a relationship that I've never really seen a lot of black people do. But then I also feel like questioning, is it for the right reasons? Is she doing this because she wants to do it, or she's doing it because she has no choice to do it, you know? And why I'm saying she has no choice to do it is because I feel like when you kind of unpack Nelly's personality type, you know, sometimes it kind of comes across as if he hasn't grown up. He's still a child. He's 50, but he's got this boyish energy to him. He's got this, I'm a middle-aged dude, but I haven't really grown up, and I kind of still want to live the life of my 20s, even though I'm in my 50s. You know, but also still be married because that's a socially acceptable thing to do, and have a kid and have a unit because that is socially acceptable for a person my age, but also still have my cake and eat it too at the same time. And look, I've been with this girl, I've probably cheated on her, allegedly, don't know, but she knows what it is. So if she's put up with it this long and now she really wants a child because biological clock is ticking, I'm sure she can make an exception that we can live our separate lives. So what I'm saying is she was forced to, is because I feel like maybe she realized that I'm never going to get what I really want with this man, and maybe what she really wants is a traditional marriage like maybe her parents had, but realizing that this person is really, it's going to be like very difficult to have a traditional setup with him. Let's just opt for the bare minimum, and that's what it's giving for me. So I feel like their relationship, yes, is unconventional, and when I promote unconventional relationships, I think it's done for the wrong reasons. It's done for the wrong reasons because I think he's emotionally unavailable, one, and she's aware that he's emotionally unavailable, so she'll put up with it just to have a kid and to be married and to have the unit. That's what I really feel like, not because this is really the setup that she wants. She also looks like she isn't really as invested in her career, Ashanti, and it looks like her mother is pushing sort of her to continue to be invested in her career, and she's more focused on trying to raise her kid, being there for a kid, breastfeeding a kid, and, you know, making sure that she's the best mother that she can be. If she has this family focus, but she's also not expecting a lot of commitment from her baby daddy, it's a very confusing messaging, because it's like you don't want to focus on your career as much because you want to focus on your family, but you're also not really exclusively living with your man. You don't even, like, they couldn't answer. I don't know how many times they were asked about where they live or what they're doing for plans for like Christmas or whatever, and they just always had different answers. So you can see that they're on two different pages of the spectrum. It's like one wants to do their thing, the other one wants to do their thing. I don't think there is any meeting in the middle, and that's where the problem is. I don't like that relationship at all, because I think Ashanti deserves better and Nelly just needs to grow up. Megan Thee Stallion has a new man, and his name is Klay Thompson, darling, and it looks like they're kind of very smitten and very much are comfortable to share their relationship with the public. While I'm happy for her being in this new era, she looks good, her body is smacking, honey, and she has this new swimwear line. Like, she's basically having a hot girl summer, but in a relationship, so that's working for her. Love that for her, you know, my fellow Houstonian girlie. Is it for the right reasons? Is she ready to be in a new relationship? And why now? When you think about everything that Megan Thee Stallion is going through, she has that whole thing of where the court of public opinion, and there were allegations of allegedly Tory Lanez didn't shoot her, but she's maintaining that Tory Lanez did allegedly shoot her, and you know, that everything that was reported that landed this person in jail is what happened, essentially, allegedly. So there's all of that back and forth that's going on, and, you know, there's quite of a strong sentiment towards Tory Lanez, people believing Tory Lanez side of the story as well, and kind of also poking at inconsistencies in her story. And then there's also the whole story that she's going through with her former videographer, who apparently is also suing her for like having an uncomfortable work environment, allegedly, because allegedly he was forced to watch her engaging in intercourse, allegedly, with another female in a moving car, and so he was subjected to that, and he couldn't leave the car, and the car was moving, and apparently the reason why it was allowed was allegedly because he is gay. So she's going through all these different dynamics, right? Lots of controversial things and things that kind of paint her not in the best light. And what better way to take people's focus off of all of that than a new relationship? Let's be honest, who does not like love? Who does not like a summer romance, you know? the story writes itself. It's quite an obvious clock that it is a distraction. Can we talk about how Kendrick and Sza are like the Taylor Swift of the black music industry? Let's be honest. Like, this just dawned on me because I've seen them everywhere. Everyone talks about them, and I still don't get it. Because what is the big deal? You know, one is a rapper who is, I feel like his days where he was the hottest thing ever aren't really now. And I feel like the reason why he's hot now is because he's dissing another rapper because the machine is favoring him in the whole fight. And then the other one is an R&B artist who has had some time to grow, has quite a big name, has an album which has done well. But again, I was also not really in that SZA like wave of music. Like, I've never really seen her as the next girl, you know, like the girl, as everyone is kind of pushing her to be. So I just feel like these two people have this exaggerated praise around them, but I just don't understand why, because I can't really say that they're both really great performers per se. Like, I'm not missing anything out by not going to the SZA concert because I don't think they are performers. Yes, they may be great musicians at whatever they do and for the people who appreciate it, but I still don't see what the big deal is, what the big hype is. You know, when I'm thinking about SZA, I really actually appreciate Summer Walker more than SZA because I think her music is definitely a lot more, it touches the heartstrings a lot more than SZA, and I feel like they both kind of have this sad girl aesthetic, you know, going through the most, like singing about going through the most for the most part. But I would still pick Summer Walker over SZA any day because I feel like Summer Walker isn't overrated. SZA is just kind of like a snooze fest, let's be honest. She's being pushed by the right people, she's been around the right people, and so it looks like she's bigger than she actually is. So that's my tea with her. Like, I just feel like I just had to talk about it because I feel like these two people are pushed, but I feel like they're force fed down our throats. But let their work speak for themselves and not necessarily the obvious interference of the media and pushing them so that we can somehow appreciate them. And to end off on a musical note, as per usual, darling, I came across this song, you know, in pursuit of the song of the summer because I have not given up. We need to have a song of the summer, and I love Me My Africans doll. I love African musicians, and I think they deserve more clout than they get, way more clout. So I came across the song by Bruga featuring Tiwa Savage called Toma Toma, and it is so good. It's like shot on like this beautiful catamaran / yacht situation. It's definitely giving summer vibes. You know, it came out like I think 8 months ago. It's got like 18 million views, and it's a really, really beautiful song. And I'm just like, where has this song been? Why have I not come across it? It's really, really quite a beautiful song. It also kind of remixes Speed of Sound by Coldplay. So it's got that same little melody, but they've sort of given it an African instrumental, and really just given it some flavor. And it's really so good, and it's just been buzzing in my head. So I'm just like, you know what, let's endorse the song. It's not too late. It is 8 months ago. It came out 8 months ago. But a lot of good songs that become songs of the summer take some time to mature. You know, like for example, Water by Tyler came out in 2023, but the peak of it was 2024. Like, there's no place you would go in the summer of 2024 and not hear Water by Tyler. So it took a year for it to climax and for everyone to really adopt it and for it to become such a mainstream hit. So I'm giving the song the grace that it came out last year, and so the adoption now is matured because now I'm also like getting on the bandwagon of it. So I think it's absolutely amazing and beautiful, and I hope that it actually reaches many people. And for those who are into the Afrobeats, you know, and all of that stuff, you would definitely appreciate it because it's so good, so good. And speaking of Tiwa Savage, she has also been on this beautiful Renaissance era of hers. She released that song You For Me, and it kind of plays on that So Into You song, which was released back in the day by, I can't really remember who the artist was. I am so into you, I really like what you done to me. It was Fabulous and some other chick who was on that song, and You For Me kind of plays onto that beat and also again gives it this beautiful African flavor, and she's doing it, honey. So I just feel like they're all on this beautiful era of appreciating different genres and genre bending into this beautiful Afrobeats genre. But even in that Afrobeats genre, I think it's limiting for us to even think of it as just that, because really and truly, these are R&B artists. It's just that because they're from Africa, people want to box them into this umbrella term. But really, this is R&B. This is literally R&B. So it's really beautiful. You For Me, Toma Toma, this Tiwa Savage Ruga collaboration is really everything that we all need. Definitely bubbling. He's one of the younger Afrobeats artists. You know, put him in the field, the boxes with like your Rimmers, your Oxlades, and all of these bubbling, you know, babies who are really just about to blow up. And I think Afrobeats music and African music in general is really just going to take over the world in a way that we've never seen before, and I can't wait for that crescendo and for them to get the clout that they deserve. Anyway, babies, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Messiest Bitch on the Internet. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram at BigMoneyEntertainment_, and I'll see you again on the next one.